Diego Maradona is for many around the world the greatest footballer of all time and no doubt one of the GOATs. The Argentine is revered as a god in many places around the globe, especially in his native country and the city of Naples. Many iconic moments serve the legend's career, but he had many controversial ones that made him even more memorable. Love him or hate him, there's no denying that Maradona was one of the most colorful characters in football history. Welcome to Football Pro. In this video, we're going to talk about the top 10 crazy things Maradona did. This channel is dedicated to bringing you awesome, regular content in and around the beautiful game of football. Let's dive in. Fight night. We all go to a football match expecting to see crazy goals, dribbles, and the like. Sometimes we might see a brawl or two, but it is quite unlikely that the players go all out into a mini battle. Well, here comes the kung fu mastermind, Diego Maradona. In 1983, a 22-year-old Maradona had his ankle broken by the butcher of Bilbao, Andoni Goicoechea, which kept the Argentine out for a couple of months. It was a painful period for the Argentine, and he dearly prayed to have his revenge someday. The stars aligned when the Copa del Rey final was set between Barcelona and Athletic Bilbao. Maradona had a chance to mess this butcher guy up really good. In the game, there was a good measure of ankle breakers, both dribbles and tackles. Maradona and his German teammate, Bernd Schuster, were particular victims of the hacks, and the anger built up even more. Barcelona's best efforts were not enough to overturn Athletic's 1-0 lead until the final whistle blew in Bilbao's victory. Fans were delighted and began swarming the pitch. Coaches and staff joined in to celebrate the Basque club. Enter Sifu Diego. He couldn't hand out his revenge with football, so he resorted to flying kicks. Our boy lashed out, kicking at anything in red and white within his sight. His first victim was an unused substitute in a tracksuit who was kneed in the face and left unconscious on the pitch. The battle had begun. Schuster was almost as frustrated as Maradona, but was twice as agile in kicking down the Athletic players, who paused their celebrations to retaliate. It was pure chaos, with no popcorn. Soon, the riot police escorted Barcelona players from the pitch, and a satisfied Maradona left the pitch in his torn shirt. That was his last game for Barcelona. Hand of God. The 1986 World Cup is one of the most iconic tournaments ever, and the 25-year-old Diego Maradona was the reason for the season. The Argentine captain thoroughly dominated the competition, scoring 5 goals and providing 5 assists for his teammates, until the final whistle in the Azteca Stadium crowned them champions. His performances were unlike what anybody has ever seen in a major tournament. He really carried the team that year. Although his specialty was breezing through defenses like it was nothing and scoring mind-blowing goals, Maradona didn't mind using the dark arts when needed. In the quarterfinals, Argentina would come up against an odd foe, England. The Falklands War from 4 years ago still left a bitter taste in everybody's mouth, and the Argentines wanted to beat up the English so badly. The first goal came in the most memorable way ever. Maradona contested a loose ball with Peter Shilton, a goalkeeper 8 inches taller than him, and somehow the ball was in the net. Nobody raised objections. The referees, 2 linesmen, or any of the 100,000 fans present in the stadium. England players contested the goal for offside, but the referee received further confirmation from the linesman that it was a goal, and it stood. 4 minutes later, the smooth criminal Maradona took on the entire England team and scored the goal of the century. Gary Lineker's goal in the closing minutes was only a consolation, as Argentina progressed to the semi-finals, and the rest is history. The next day, a photograph circulated where Maradona's hand hit the ball. Diego simply laughed it off and called it the hand of God. Many years later, Maradona confessed that the goal was actually scored with his hand, but he did not care to ask for forgiveness. That was all bygone, and he had avenged the Argentine boys which the English killed like little birds in the Falklands War. Cocaine. Maradona had a well-documented cocaine addiction that he struggled with for many years. El Pibe De Oro arrived in Barcelona full of dreams, but the tough life in Europe, especially during his injury period, would lead him down the road of drug abuse. Sadly, it got a grip on him all too well when he arrived in Naples, and it got even worse after he started delivering titles for the Neapolitans. For the god of Naples, there was always coke, hookers, and everything in between. In his words, he had a schedule where he partied and snorted from Sunday to Wednesday, then sweated it out from Thursday in preparation for the match on Saturday. Rinse and repeat. What a schedule, but it all came to a head when life got unbearable in Naples. He was shackled to his contract and felt even more like a slave. After the club's second league title, Maradona was caught with possession of cocaine and got arrested. He was suspended for 15 months in 1991 after testing positive for the drug and even faced a criminal trial. Maradona fled Italy, but fled to Argentina, where he was promptly arrested in tears. Luckily, he avoided a jail sentence, but his time in Naples was over. Some years later, he would stick out at the 1994 World Cup for his wild, bulging eye celebrations after scoring a wonder goal against Greece. He would later fail a drug test, which led to his expulsion from the tournament and total suspension from football. Diego Casanova. Maradona was a young, fantastic footballer in his day, and this came with a lot of female attention. Everybody wanted a piece of him, but he preferred women. In his prime, Diego needed a fly swatter to keep the honeybees off him. And my man did not discriminate. His waves swept through the city of Naples, Buenos Aires, and wherever his divine feet landed. From these affairs came many children. The very first was Diego Maradona Jr., who was named against his father's wishes, of course. But Maradona only cared for his 2 daughters, as he later mentioned that those were his only children and the others were a product of his money and mistakes. Ouch! Well, it gets even more insane. Diego Jr. met his father for the first time by tricking his way onto a golf course where Maradona Sr. was playing in 2003. And Maradona officially recognized him in 2016. Real Hollywood Diego. Mob ties. Maradona's arrival in Naples was nothing short of a sensation. It was almost like the people went through all the troubles of the week to see him play on the weekend. Like other citizens of Naples, the local mafia took an extraordinary liking to him. In fact, they offered him protection and got a grip on him since they controlled a bunch of cocaine pipelines. Maradona was a young bull, ready to party. The mafia had an easy time putting their hooks in him by indulging his liking for sex and drugs. They had a simple relationship, offering him protection and cocaine while he modeled for whichever businesses they wanted. All these were a big part of Maradona's infamous chapter in Naples, but even a bigger part of his downfall. Oh, by the way, a lot of hard work and care goes into these videos, so if you could help us out and click that lovely subscribe button, we'd greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up too. Who shot you hanging with the Camorra? Must have given Maradona a couple of buttons. Even years after he left Napoli, journalists would still harass him. He was still Maradona after all. One time, they were piled up around his Buenos Aires residence, and Maradona immediately pulled out a stick and blasted on them. 4 journalists got injured by the gunfire. This time, he would apologize and pay damages to the victims. Rough criminal. Maradona was a gangster, all right, rolling with the mob, drowning in cocaine, and taking aim at privacy intruders. He didn't neglect the financial side of things either, as he swiped right on tax evasion. In 2009, the Italian government announced that Maradona still owed over $35 million in taxes. Diego had only paid about $42,000, along with a pair of earrings and a wristwatch. You can say they got dribbled. Politicking. Maradona was no shy guy. He said whatever was on his mind. He would express his political opinion explicitly and showcase it in his lifestyle. For starters, he declared his vivid hatred for the USA's imperialism and whatever comes out of the country. Well, if you remember what happened on US soil at the '94 World Cup, you wouldn't be so surprised. He even went as far as wearing a Stop Bush shirt to the 2005 Summit of the Americas where the S in Bush was a swastika. In fact, he was close friends with Fidel Castro, who was not so giddy with the States either. He was very tight with the Cuban president and dedicated his autobiography to him. Even before that, Maradona got a portrait tattoo of Castro on his left leg with another tattoo of Che Guevara on his right arm to match. His poor shantytown upbringing definitely had something to do with his leftist loyalties. During his audience with Pope John Paul II in 1987, Maradona argued with him and criticized the Catholic Church's hypocrisy. 3 years later, he paid his respect to Lenin's mausoleum in Moscow. The belly flop. Like many players do, Maradona decided to pursue a coaching career after his retirement. Not that he needed it. He started out his managerial career with a short, unsuccessful stint at Corrientes and later Racing Club in 1995. But he was not one to give up. When the manager position of the Argentina NT became vacant in 2008, Maradona leaped into it and got the job. Maradona's Argentina started out just fine, winning their first 3 games. But things got tougher as they struggled in the 2010 World Cup qualifying campaign. During one of those matches, Martin Palermo scored a late goal to equalize Peru. The coach was so overjoyed that he did a belly flop in the rain. Classic Diego. Fighting with fans. Maradona is no stranger to kung fu fighting. Even when he was no longer as fast as lightning, he was still ready to kick some ass. In 2018, his Dorados de Sinaloa were defeated by Atlético San Luis in the second leg of the Ascenso MX final. After the match, a group of fans were waiting to rile him up with chanting. He tried to throw a few jabs as usual, but got held back by bodyguards. Still got that dog in him. Thanks so much for sticking around until the end of the video. We hope you enjoyed it. But why stop now? Click this video right here for more awesome content.